2026. That's the year Edgar Cayce said the world would rupture. Not a guess. A warning given in 1934. Ground splitting, seas rising, skies going silent, and he named the places that would survive. Those locations already revealed. Section 1. The Man Who Saw Tomorrow. Edgar Cayce never wanted fame. Born in 1877 on a Kentucky farm, he worked as a photographer, prayed quietly, and lived what most would call an ordinary life. But there was nothing ordinary about what happened when he closed his eyes. Cayce would enter a deep trance state, and while his body lay completely still, he would speak with startling clarity about things he couldn't possibly know. Illnesses he'd never studied, places he'd never visited, events that hadn't happened yet. His secretary, Gladys Davis, transcribed every word. Over decades, she filled thousands of pages with his readings. No interpretations, just raw prophetic statements. Dates, names, disasters, wars, all recorded long before they occurred. What set Cayce apart wasn't just accuracy, it was consistency. He didn't claim supernatural powers. He said the information came from what he called the universal mind of God. For him, these weren't parlor tricks. They were warnings meant to prepare humanity for what was coming. People called him everything from possessed to chosen. But Cayce remained humble. He believed his gift was a mission, not for glory, but to help people spiritually prepare for the changes ahead. Section 2. When the impossible became real, the mid-1920s. Wall Street was booming. Banks were lending freely. The American dream felt unstoppable. But Cayce, a man with zero financial education, warned of a great collapse. He said the system would break, that money would vanish, and that families would suffer. In the mid-1930s, while most world leaders still believed peace would hold, Cayce predicted another war, greater than the first. He spoke of Germany becoming aggressive again, of Japan's involvement, and of a global conflict that would reshape nations. When World War II erupted exactly as he described, people finally recognized this wasn't guessing. This was warning. Section 3. The disease he saw, decades early. Cayce wasn't a doctor, yet he spoke about diseases with understanding that stunned trained professionals. Decades before modern outbreaks, he warned of a strange illness that would attack the lungs, weaken the breath, and spread across nations invisibly but powerfully. He said it would arrive like a shadow and that the world wouldn't be ready. He described a condition that would strain hospitals and expose weaknesses in even the strongest countries. Section 4. The oceans are speaking. To most people, oceans are vast and silent, but to Cayce they were alive, and he said one day they would speak. In his trance readings, he described the great awakening of the waters, a mysterious movement beneath the Earth's surface that would signal profound global change. He spoke of currents shifting, tides rising without cause, and seas being stirred from below. Today, oceanographers have confirmed exactly this. Certain deep-sea regions once considered stable are experiencing pressure changes, temperature anomalies, and unexplained activity. Tsunamis are becoming more frequent and unpredictable. Coastal cities report tidal surges arriving without warning. Cayce said this awakening would begin deep beneath the ocean floor, in hidden cracks of the earth where the pressure of imbalance would finally trigger a natural reaction. Not punishment, correction, a realignment of nature itself. He also said the seas would bring to light what was hidden. In recent years, ancient landforms, ruins, and anomalies have emerged from receding waters or been discovered deep beneath the waves, as if the earth is revealing truths long buried. Section 5. The reading they kept hidden. Among Cayce's 14,000 readings, one specific message was kept hidden longer than most. Quietly recorded in 1934, it was locked away by the foundation created to protect his work. What he saw was too powerful, too terrifying, possibly too close to truth. In that reading, Cayce named 2026 as a turning point, a year when the world would experience rupture, not only in land, but in human hearts. He said the planet would shake from within and oceans would rise in fury. Many thought he was speaking metaphorically, but as years passed, strange patterns intensified. Earthquakes appeared in places that never knew tremors. Dormant volcanoes awakened. Climate systems grew unstable. Even scientists began using phrases like unprecedented, unstable, and tipping point. Cayce's vision wasn't just about nature. He described a spiritual rupture, a moment when people would face the emptiness of their souls, when technology, money, and power would fail to bring peace, and only faith would provide strength to continue. And those walking into 2026 without faith may not be prepared for what's coming. Section 6. 3 Days of Darkness. Cayce spoke of a moment when the skies would grow still, the earth would not respond, and voices of men would be silenced. For decades, this was interpreted as symbolic, but recent solar research has given this prophecy chilling new weight. He described 3 days of darkness and complete silence during which the natural order would pause, communication would fail, light would vanish, a stillness would fall over the planet so deep it would feel as though Earth stopped breathing. Scientists now warn about a potential solar storm so powerful it could disable satellites, destroy power grids, and plunge continents into blackout. This Carrington event happened before in 1859, but with far less technology at stake. Today, such a storm could leave the world in silence for days, maybe longer. Cayce's prophecy matches this scenario with uncanny accuracy. But his words go further. He warned that during this darkness, people would be tested spiritually. The silence wouldn't just be absence of sound, but absence of direction. Those without faith would panic. Those grounded in prayer, humility, and truth would be covered by unseen peace. He described it not as punishment, but as reset. A moment where mankind would be forced to stop, reflect, and decide what truly matters. Section 7. The axis is shifting. For most of history, people believed Earth was steady, constant, dependable. But Cayce warned of a time when Earth's axis would shift enough to affect the balance of life on the planet. He said Earth would be shaken from its foundation, and this movement would alter environment and shake the soul of every human being. Today, scientists confirm Earth's axis is indeed shifting. The North Pole is moving. Researchers link this to melting polar ice caps causing redistribution of the planet's mass. Cayce said exactly this decades ago. The ice will leave the poles and seek balance elsewhere. This tilt disrupts climate systems, ocean currents, agricultural seasons, and animal migration patterns. Places with 4 clear seasons now see droughts, floods, or freezing temperatures when none are expected. Cayce believed the physical shift mirrored spiritual imbalance in mankind. When people lose connection to truth, the world itself responds. Natural law isn't separate from spiritual law. The planet, like the soul, reacts when pushed too far. The shift of the axis isn't only geological change, it's a spiritual alarm bell. The Earth is moving, the balance is off, and each person must ask, where is my center? Section 8. The Zones of Danger. Cayce never studied geology, never looked at seismic maps. Yet in multiple readings, he listed specific regions that would suffer severe and permanent changes. Modern geology and satellite data have begun validating what he warned about nearly a century ago. The west coast of the United States, particularly California. Cayce warned of massive earthquakes leading to portions of coast being swallowed by sea. Today, we know California sits on the San Andreas Fault, and scientists openly discuss the overdue big one, Japan. He said it would slide into the sea piece by piece following major earthquakes. The 2011 tsunami shifted parts of the seafloor by several meters, making this warning especially unsettling. Southern Europe, particularly along the Mediterranean. He foresaw sudden flooding and land displacement. Parts of the Middle East would become uninhabitable due to natural and man-made disasters. These warnings weren't just geographic. Cayce described these zones as spiritually unstable, places where disconnection from God, greed, and human pride would bring both moral and physical consequences. Where truth is ignored, the ground itself becomes unsteady. Section 9. The Sanctuaries. For all the destruction Cayce foresaw, he also saw refuge. He believed some places would remain untouched, not by luck or geography, but by deeper spiritual protection. These places would serve divine purpose as sanctuaries of survival, healing, and leadership in a broken world. He named specific regions: Brazil, Canada's interior, New Zealand, and inland Africa away from coasts. These weren't places of wealth or military strength. They were places of the heart, where humility, faith, and compassion would take root. Brazil would become a spiritual lighthouse for nations. Despite political struggles, the soul of its people and their faith would protect them from the worst. Canada, especially central and northern regions, was named a zone of peace. Its cold, stable lands far from fault lines would offer shelter to many. New Zealand, isolated in the Pacific, was described as a cradle, a small nation with deep spiritual core, protected by humility and distance from chaos. Deep within Africa, Cayce saw quiet awakening. People untouched by global greed, ready to rise with purity, strength, and divine calling. These lands weren't chosen for power, they were chosen for faith. And in a world broken by pride, it will be the faithful who lead the way. Section 10. The only shelter that matters. When Cayce spoke of destruction, his voice never trembled. He didn't panic or inspire fear. His tone was steady, purpose clear. What was coming wasn't the end, but the beginning of something greater. A time of correction, a time of return. In nearly every reading about coming days, he offered one message more important than any prediction. Do not fear what comes. Fear living without faith. For Cayce, the real disaster wasn't in oceans or sky. It was in hearts of those who forgot God. He believed faith was the only shelter that couldn't be shaken, the only light no darkness could extinguish, the only medicine that could heal both soul and world. When ground breaks and sky dims, many will look for help in machines, governments, science. But those who survive with strength will be the ones who kneel, not panic. Pray, not blame. Love, not hate. The future will test everyone. But those who walk with God will pass through fire and not burn, through flood and not drown, through silence and still hear his voice. It won't be the rich, powerful, or clever who lead the way. It will be the faithful, those who believed even when all seemed lost. Because what's coming isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new world built not on fear, but on faith. Edgar Cayce's warnings are unfolding in real time. The axis is shifting, the oceans are awakening, and 2026 is closer than you think. Are you spiritually prepared? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if this opened your eyes to something you needed to hear, subscribe. We're uncovering the prophecies they don't want you to know about.